Starting lineup: Darius, Kindred, Yasuo, Fortune, Olaf, up against the Renekton, Fiddlesticks, Vigar, Caitlyn, Seraphi. Rating of the picks for a casual game: Darius as a top, 7. Kindred in the jungle, 4. Yasuo in mid, 9. Fortune as a shooter, 7. Renekton as a top, 8. Fiddlesticks in the jungle, 4. Vigar as a mid, 7. Caitlyn as a shooter, 10. Seraphine in support, 10. Here in this game, the amalgamation of the feminization of young boys, as well as your first steps in League, and they don't turn out to be good ones. And the AI matchmaker just not very fond of me, but we go about our business all the same. Got this Kindred up against this Fiddlesticks, and the jury is out on who will be worse. So are the players. Let's get to it. Opening play, and we get this jungle foolishness here. And if you ever want to cheat in League or get a cheap victory, just go ahead and play Seraphine, because we're a couple of seconds in and I'm already rooted, because Seraphine just has everything. We get a decent amount of cooperation on the blue team, which ends up resolving the issue. You see the true giddiness in what is perhaps the youngest player I've ever played with in my life, in this blue team Yasuo player, trembling so much with youthful vigor that he just randomly starts flashing through the walls for no reason. Been 20 years or so since I was carefree enough to do something like that. Remarkable about this is that almost every one of these players is going to start out with the wrong item, and yet all of them know the niche of the limitations of what these flash spells can do on certain jungle walls. They're very good at something that is totally extra and superfluous, but they struggle with the basics. This play really part of that peer pressure phenomenon, where there's clearly a thing with ordinary younger players that says you gotta die before you return to the base. That is wrong. Looking at the situation as this Caitlyn player here, you have absolutely nothing to gain. Your armor is broken. I am at max life. Fortune is at 70% life. Just go home and refill. There's absolutely no rationale here, and standing around at 10% life is just doing nothing for you. That which leads to this Darius player giving up, acquiring nothing in this game but a little buckler from the shop. We're gonna have this seemingly streamer player testing out Renekton with one of the many beautiful Renekton skins. Makes you almost think that buying skins is worth it. And I don't have to tell anybody that Renekton is, of course, one of the top 3 professional pick top laners. And that is largely because of his adaptability ability. The reason why it doesn't work on amateurs Renekton is that you need to be mechanically perfect, and he's very heavy on the button pressing. But the reason why it works for the pros is because the system of taking things down that he has works in literally every situation, which is what makes him so good competitively. He's also awesome visually. I played a good number of games on Renekton myself. He's that stereotype in the low elo community of being unnecessarily looked down upon, and in almost any difficulty setting can work perfectly well in almost every position. It's a lot like Lee Sin, where the only limitation is really your skill. This Renekton player, arguably the only other player who made a good purchase going with Black Cleaver initially, which is an okay start, and a wildly underused item. This main Golem, Darius player, almost immediately quitting on the team, abandoning all of his responsibilities, and simply one of the worst teammates you could ever think of, completely lacking in compassion, understanding, masculinity, and just about anything else. This strange approach from this Caitlyn player, getting behind the bot lane opponents by herself with no support in sight, it's going to take a while for you to get noticed. The crowd control on that Axtro just really doing wonders here. You finish with the ADC Fortune player flashing in to make sure that she gets the kill. Probably down the line have not been given myself enough credit for the amount of assist and support work that I can do with this first spell. You struggle somewhat to lay into this Caitlyn initially because you went with Vampiric Scepter at this point, building up to Ruined King. An inferior starting item for Fortune, more on that later. What this Caitlyn is doing amounts to feeding, and as I used to say in earlier videos, this is perhaps a good time to stop League and to turn to Diablo, or something to that effect. Because this game is not for everyone, and if you cannot understand basic strategy, then you are best to quit while you're ahead. And as we will soon see, this kind of behavior will end up being rewarded, which makes it even worse from a habit building standpoint. Despite the fact that the Seraphine and Caitlyn get along well, they keep getting split up over and over again, and I just have the opportunity to break a lot of armor and apply a lot of slows. Eventually, at the bot lane turret, this Fortune player, who no longer has flash because she used it to kill steal, something which is frowned upon in competitive environments, will end up serving as bait as she retreats under the assault of this Caitlyn's ult, luring this jungler out under the turret, allowing me to hit it, thus repaying me in the form of a kill on this Fiddlesticks. Eventually, the story of this main golem unfolds, as at level 5 he will end up leaving game permanently. I'm going to say that the outer turret is unguarded, which for some reason never ever works when you say that, because they're just gonna let it get beaten up and then try to fix it when it's too late. You're going to get this Yasuo player down the line getting ambushed by 3 guys, and even Yasuo is not tough enough to outlast 3 guys. We have a lot of opportunity to learn in this game from a tactical standpoint. Perhaps this Caitlyn not quite ready for League of Legends. From a humanity and engagement standpoint and commitment standpoint, this Darius player absolutely not welcome in this game. bad personalities on this blue team, but it's not going to end up mattering, as the lack of a fifth player will ultimately decide our fate. This fortune player, a fairly simplistic individual who wears her jealousy on her sleeves. Taking a look then at this team synergy, considering Darius, Kindred, Yasuo, Fortune, Olaf, I would have to give this a B, perhaps rather low B. Fortune is adequate and can work with the rest. Yasuo is excellent as a pick, and Darius can definitely work. Kindred rarely works and is something that caught on because you watched a girl with big milkers play it on the Twitch. In practice, playing Kindred as a jungler is something that makes people giddy because they get the illusion that they're breaking the rules, being allowed to involve a ranged ADC style type into the jungle play, but in practice the lack of base stats makes this Kindred affair usually one big joke. To tell you the truth, if this kind of pick is made in the jungle and Kindred is not assisted right away by a cooperative team with basic tasks such as the Drake, you will not be able to land success on a basic level. We have this red team with Renekton, Fiddlesticks, Veigar, Caitlyn, Seraphine, with a perfect bot lane duo. I would say a very high B. Renekton is pretty difficult for the casuals. Fiddlesticks is a bit of a joke, so that brings your average rating down. Taking a look then at the behavior of these individuals, considering this Darius, main golem, piece of human debris, displaying utter selfishness and femininity, I would say a C. You cost us all the game. This kind of selfishness is a very good indication that you do not belong in the League of Legends community. We have this Kindred player, Melinor, certainly pretty self-aggrandizing in every possible manner for a guy who can only die. I would say a B. You tried your hand at the grubs. You did some of the jungle objectives. We have this very young boy, Jax Pro, Yasuo player. In the end, you tried to defend the top lane when this main golem quit. You ended up going with Ruined King and very expensive boots. You did more damage to the enemy team than anybody, and you kept your head up. I would say a B. We have the somewhat vulgar Fortune player going 1 and 2. We went back into this player's history. This person, an embodiment of a futile obsession with League. Your username clearly indicating that you have made previous accounts. As you point to Rengar, you're going 1 and 8 in previous games, 0 and 4, and so on. This high mastery can be really deceiving. I would say a very low B. May we never meet again. We have this Cinder TV Renekton player going with plated steel caps and black cleaver. Largely acceptable items here. Going 4 and 0 and dealing 7,300 damage on Renekton. You dominated your lane, made the other guy quit. Then you ended up going around and helping out other people. You didn't make a circus out of it. Your own team snubbed you by not giving you upvotes out of jealousy, so you got my upvote instead. I would say an A. Keep it up. We have this Digital Knight going 0 and 1, being the most honored player in this game with over 3 likes. You went with boots and you died to a turret. I would say a B. Live and learn. We have this German boy in the mid lane on Veigar going 3 and 1, going with Ludens, a cliche, and then pumping all the rest into offense, seemingly getting away with it against this team. You had a solid amount of control in your lane, you protected all your infrastructure and cooperated with the rest. I would say a high B. We have this toast called Caitlyn player going with the collector, going 1 and 4 with bizarre strategies as we've seen. I'll give this player a high C. You need to figure out for yourself whether you really want to get into it, because perhaps you are malicious, perhaps not, and if not, you really seem to have very little talent for this game. It's a long way up. Maybe it's best to quit if it's not your thing. We have this Kolonikos, seemingly referring to the colon, going 3-0, making an excellent pick, taking care of the enemy wards as well, going with very unconventional items that I like Giant's Belt. I'll give this player a very low A, because why not? You were excellent at everything. Overall, we'd have to say a quickie in this 3-0-1 game with a 4.0 KDA, doing a little bit of damage, having a little bit of fun, and seemingly snubbed by the AI putting the teams together, just so Riot knows it's all on the internet, every single sabotage play, every single mismatch, every single poorly set up game, every single malicious game, going to have to bounce back from this one, though in what is perhaps the greatest discrepancy with World of Warcraft. In League, it is truly at times entirely out of your control, and this is the League way. Didn't die a single time, didn't abandon a single teammate, didn't fail at a single thing, and yet I lose everything. That's League, and it requires a very responsible usage and moderation of the AI putting the teams together, and the matchmaking system. Taking a look at the scoreboard here, on Team Blue all of these starter items are wrong. League is like chess, which means that advancing your pawns in the wrong order or starting off on the wrong foot can easily make the difference between victory and defeat. You're pumping all your money into Ruined King here as fortune. This kind of special effect, life steal, and attack speed that you get from Ruined King is really not essential to fortune. This is the type of item she should get in later stages of the game. You have Yasuo here, and note that all these experienced players never took time to optimize their kit. Keep in mind, Yasuo will double all your crit with his passive, so in my mind, the solution to that is really something like the Collector. Doubling the crit of the Collector with your passive will make you crit almost all of the time. You also get this wildly expensive item in these boots. The 25 magic resist on these boots is really not going to help you survive in a laning phase against extreme magic damage. We have this Triforce, super expensive item on the jungler. Kindred. Triforce is an item that can help Kindred, but it is certainly not where he should start out, especially because of how expensive it is. Based on my experience, especially in competitive Wukong games, literally starting out with Yomu instead of starting out with Thornmail can make the difference between a defeat and a victory. The item choices are essential and you should reflect on them for yourself. You should try to read what they do. You should try to test some of them out. And I think of all the item choices, your first item chronologically is the most important one. Because that is when money comes the slowest and when all opinions are formed. meaning if you wildly underperform because you got a super expensive item. We typically see this with anti-AP boots. People pour all their money into anti-AP boots. They then perform like trash, and the entire team concludes that they should give up because this player cannot play because he threw all his money away on that one item that does not allow him to perform properly. Moving on.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I'm going.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
To plunder.
Blood. An ally has been slain.
My first hater?
I'm going. Plunder. Obliterate.
Has slain an enemy.
Urge to kill rising. The might of Blockbuster. To battle!
Enemy killing spree.
action! I'm urge to kill rising.
Enemy rampage.
To plunder.
A summoner has disconnected.
The might of Rockfall approaches. I'm going. Urge to kill rising. Death I steal.
This one's for you! It's down. Spotlight's yours!
Plunder. I'm going. Kill rising. Approaches.
An enemy has been slain.
To action!
Turret plating will soon fall. Your turret has been destroyed.
The might of Lockbar.
An ally has been slain.
To action! Thunder!
Your turret has been destroyed. Ally has been slain.
So, it has come to this.
Your turret has been destroyed.
The might of Lockbar approaches. Urge to kill rises.
An ally has been slain.
Obliteration.
An enemy has been slain.
I'm going. To action!
Enemy killing spree.
The might of Lockbar approaches.
Enemy killing spree. Defeat.